Creating virtual machine templates in vSphere 6. In last video we have created a virtual machine of Windows Server 2012, and in this video we will create a template based out of that virtual machine. So let's move on to vCenter. This is the machine, virtual machine called Server 1. Yeah. So let me launch remote console here. This is Windows Server 2012. If you want to create a template for Windows Server 2012 or Windows 2008 or any one, the newest operating system, like uh, you know, whether the desktop operating system or server operating system, before you remember in version 2003 or for XP, you need to copy some files to vCenter, a certain directory with Sysprep and all. But here no. Here no files, no script needs to be copied. That's all you have to do. Just make the changes what you like, and at the end, once you are satisfied, run Sysprep and just shut it down and convert it to template. One thing more additional you can do in vSphere 6 that you can save this template to your content library. Okay, so I have a server and I made some changes. What changes would you like to make to your template? That's up to you. Some people might like to install some basic common applications, though you can do those or publish those applications using application virtualization. But let's say you don't want to do those application virtualization and all that. So sometimes you might like to install some basic stuff here. You might like to make changes for settings. For example, here I make the firewall off. I would like to enable remote desktop, for example, right? And I would like to disable Internet Explorer enhanced security configuration, right? And what else I would like to do? Well, it's all depends on you at the end. That what changes you want to make to your system. Once you are ready to make changes, all you have to do just save it as a template. For example, I made some changes. I will go for performance and I will say adjust for best performance, right? Under advanced, you may like to change the page file. You may like to keep it has a C drive, but maybe if you have C and D, you may like to keep page file on D, for example. So system managed. Okay, and what else? You may like to make some changes to startup. Also, maybe you want to. I won't recommend to add it to domain because anyway you need to run Sysprep to it. What other changes that you may want to make? Hardware, it's all good. Performance, I think we have already covered that area. Okay, so here. You might like to activate Windows, um, anything for remote desktop settings. Something, yeah, it's all done. I think I'm forgetting something here. What I would like to do, yeah, I said for best performance, processor scheduling, for background services, that's fine. Yeah, that's all good. You may like to install a browser of your choice, and there is any additional thing that you like to do, you can definitely go with that. Uh, Date and time you want to set. For example, I would like to go to time zone. I would like to change the time zone to be, but in my case, and power options, of course, this is one of the things that I prefer for server, high performance. I would like to switch to high performance. And tells, some people like to tweak certain services, that's also another thing, but I usually don't, because you never know what you will use this server for. As long as I provide this machine enough resources, uh, select the best possible virtual hardware for this machine, for example VMX Net 3 for network card, or if this machine needs very high IOPS, I can choose para virtualization SCSI adapter. So it should all good. I can assign sufficient amount of RAM. I don't want to go ahead to be very picky to disable every single thing which is possibly there out there. Or but however, you have always a chance you can disable a few things, like uh, sub services. You can do that. Windows update, some people like to disable or keep Windows update disabled. I don't. Windows update is a good thing, and usually I like these things to be applied via group policy, because ultimately when you will provision a server virtual machine from this template and you will add it to domain, so those group policy settings will apply to it. So let's see, anything I would like to change here. No, I think it's all good. Okay. Yeah. One thing I might like to do, we'll let you go here and go at rolling features. No role, just for features. I would like to add Windows Server backup, so that any server I provision using this template will have this feature installed, but I don't have to do that on every virtual server that I will provision using this template. This is one thing you can do. You can even install .NET Framework if you like, so that if you want to provision SQL Server out of it, you can. You don't have to go through this hassle. But again, you might like to provision another server which doesn't require .NET Framework. So it's at the end, it's all depends. How much customization you want to start up with, and how much customization you would like to do after. Succeeded. Okay, custom enhancement program. Let me just do a little check. I'm coming back again and again here because I think just to double check. Uh, that's up to you if you would like to change or not. For user profile settings, startup and recovery. Okay, so all good. I have made some changes, and now what I would like to do, I would like to create a template out of it. So how to make it? How I would like to create a template? Of course, don't forget that when I create this VM, I installed VMware tools. So there are VMware tools here, and I made some necessary changes to it. And now what I would like to do, I'll say Sysprep, and this is the Sysprep tool. I will say the out of system out of box experience or OBE, generalize and shut it down once it's done. And now it's preparing this system for template. Because Sysprep is working means it will remove the unique information from the system like IP address, security identifier, SID, system name. All this information will be stripped down, and once the system will shut down, all you have to do just convert it as template. For desktops operating system like Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8, there are certain guidelines. If you want to create a template for them for VDI purpose, there is from VMware, there is VMware desktop optimization tool that you can run, but that requires testing because that may disable few features that you may need, or it may not, you may not get the right result, so that requires sometimes tuning. So there are many ways you can handle that situation. So template is basically, it's all about testing and testing at the end. Okay, the VM is powered off. And one more thing I would like to do before converting this to template, this machine wants to be powered off. Yeah, does not refresh it that. So go to edit settings, and if any ISO is mounted, I would like to dismount that. No, I think that's fine. Okay, no ISO is mounted to it. Let me just double check. Yep. Cool. And now we have the server run. What I would like to do, I would like to right click the server and say template and convert to template. Okay. So if I do this option, convert to template, what will happen? Or export OVF template. Well, the two different things. Convert to template would automatically convert it to template. If I say export OVF template, It's again where I would like to export it as a OVF or OVA file so that I can transport them or send them somewhere or ship it them or upload them. People can download it. It's another way of basically, packaging your VM so that you can just take it somewhere you like. So convert to template. Okay. Now where did it go? Well, it's here. If I go to VM and templates, and it is server one as a template. If I right click and I say clone to template, means I want a clone of this template, and I can name this in 2012 to DS2. Why did I do that? Well, some you might say, why did not I rename server one? Well, I don't like to do that because if I rename it here, it will change the name here. But if I browse through the data store, I will find this folder which is created for this VM will still be using the same name, server one. So if you really like to rename something here, I would suggest just clone it and save it to the appropriate data store and give a new name so that the underneath folder also matches your name which will appear here. So I want to use a template. I want to create a corporate template and I want to make sure I have the proper naming conventions. So now it's copying that, it's cloning that template, it's another name, and I will pause this video and once it's done I will show results to you. Okay, so template has been created and as you can see now I have two templates, server 1 and this template T in 2012 R2. If I want, I can right click, I can drive a new VM from this template. I can convert the template itself to virtual machine like I convert virtual machine to template. You can convert template to virtual machine. Clone to template, and that's what I did for server 1. I cloned it to make this template, and clone to library, which is like sending it to content library. So if I want to convert this back to VM, what you see, convert to virtual machine. Right now, because DR host not in DRS mode, I have to choose host, and so this is back as machine. If you see, you cannot edit the hardware of template, but for the VM you can. So if I need to make changes to any hardware of VM or for this template, I have to just right click, convert it to VM, make changes to hardware, and then right click and change it back to templates. Don't start this because if you start it, the system OS which is inside this machine, which is 2012 R2, will boot, and then once it's started, then you have to run Sysprep again. So keep this in mind. If you want to change virtual hardware, right click, just convert it to virtual machine like I did. Go to edit settings without starting the machine, change the hardware, and then just right click and convert it to template again. Okay, so if I want to scroll it to library, that's how you do it. See, like this is the content library for content library. Preserve MAC addresses or the configuration depends. Uh, and if I say OK, it will start copying it to my content library. Let me do this for you. It will take a while, but that's how you just copy to content library, or it's basically it will clone it. I could have, when I was changing this to this template, I could have that time, you know, selected have all this option and say clone to virtual library, but I wanted to make multiple copies and to show you different things. That was the reason basically I just did that. So now it's cloning this template to another template, and it's copying that. I'll be cloning it to content library, so it will be stored in content library location. So this is how you deal with templates, and you can create virtual machine out of templates. You can convert virtual machine to templates, templates to virtual machine. If I want to drive a virtual machine out of this template, I can say new virtual machine from this template, and I can give this a name, server 2, and this data store, and I would like to keep it on EXI3, for example, and I would like to keep it on data store 1 as well. Same format as source, which was thin. And see, I have an option, customized operating system, customize the OEM hardware, or just power it on. I don't want to do any of that at the moment. I'm fine. And now I will have another VM which will be driven out of this template called server 2. So this server 1 and server 2, we will start them up and use them as test VMs for our different labs. So this is it, guys. That's how you create templates and deal with templates. And I will see you in other videos.